Florida has one of the oldest European histories in the United States. The state was once a remote frontier of Spanish forts, native villages, and trading posts. For centuries, Florida remained sparsely populated. Hurricanes, disease, and war made settlement difficult. Many early communities have vanished entirely. In this video, we're exploring 25 of the oldest European settlements in Florida. Pensacola is one of the earliest European settlement attempts in the United States. In 1559, Spanish explorer Tristan de Luna y Arellano attempted to establish a colony of 1,500 people. But a few weeks after arriving, a strong hurricane killed an unknown number of settlers, destroyed most of the ships, and ruined the supplies. The colony collapsed within 2 years. Spain returned in 1698 to build a permanent settlement, and Pensacola eventually became a strategic military port, controlling the entrance to the Gulf of Mexico. St. Augustine is the oldest continuously inhabited European settlement in the United States. Founded by Spanish Admiral Pedro Menendez, the settlement served as the capital of Spanish Florida for centuries. To defend the city from pirates and the British Empire, Spain built the massive stone fortress Castillo de San Marcos, which was completed in 1695. Despite numerous attacks, hurricanes, and fires, the city survived and remains one of the most historic cities in America. Before the Spanish firmly controlled Florida, the French made their own attempt to establish a colony with around 200 people along the St. Johns River. In 1564, French Huguenot settlers led by René Goulain de Laudonnière built Fort Caroline near present-day Jacksonville. The settlement would serve as a refuge for French Protestants and as a foothold in the New World to stop Spanish expansion. But the colony did not last long. In 1565, Spanish forces led by Pedro Menendez, the founder of St. Augustine, attacked and burned the fort. Most of the men were killed, and the Spanish renamed the site San Mateo. Shortly after founding St. Augustine, the Spanish established smaller defensive outposts nearby. One of those was San Mateo, the former site of Fort Caroline. French forces attacked and destroyed the fort in 1568 in retaliation. Before Tallahassee existed, the region was home to a large Spanish mission community. Mission San Luis served as a religious, political, and military center connecting Spanish settlers and the Appalachian people. At its height, the town had around 1,400 native residents. In 1704, the mission was destroyed. Located on the St. Marcos River, the settlement grew around the Spanish fortress, San Marcos de Apalache. The fort helped protect Spanish trade routes and later became an American military post. St. Mark's housed a naval hospital and Confederate batteries during the Civil War. Volusa once served as an important river trading post along the St. Johns River and became the second oldest Spanish base in Florida after St. Augustine. Steamboats traveling through Florida frequently stopped here during the 1800s. As railroads replaced river transportation, the town slowly declined. Picolata began as a Spanish fort along the St. Johns River. Travelers heading into the interior of Florida often crossed the river here by ferry. The fort was rebuilt several times throughout history. Fort Mose became the first legally recognized free black settlement in what would become the United States. Spain offered freedom to enslaved people who escaped from British colonies if they converted to Catholicism and served in the militia. Residents of Fort Mose helped protect St. Augustine from British attacks. During British rule of Florida, plantation owner Denny Roll attempted to establish a colony along the St. Johns River. The settlement struggled, and after the American Revolution, Roll's town was abandoned. Roll moved his belongings and slaves to the Bahamas. New Smyrna was once one of the largest colonial settlements in Florida. Spanish doctor Andrew Turnbull brought over 1,300 settlers to work plantations here. Harsh conditions caused many of the settlers to flee to St. Augustine. Turnbull abandoned his settlement in 1783. Originally called Cowford, Jacksonville grew around a shallow river crossing used by cattle drivers. After the United States took control of Florida, the settlement was renamed after Andrew Jackson. Today, Jacksonville is the largest city in the Southeast. Fernandina sits on Amelia Island, and it's famous for having flown 8 different flags throughout its history. In the 16, 17, and 1800s, the city became a major shipping port for cotton and timber. Its harbor made it one of the most important ports in early Florida. Fernandina is known as the last Spanish town platted in the Western Hemisphere. Key West grew rapidly during the 1800s because of its location along the busy shipping routes. Residents made fortunes from wrecking, salvaging cargo from ships that ran aground on nearby reefs. At one point, Key West was the largest city in Florida. Micanopy became the first newly formed American town in the Florida Territory. The town developed as a frontier trading post between settlers and the Seminoles. Many historic buildings remain today. Noonanville served as the second county seat of Alachua County. The area was a hub for trade and plantation life in the antebellum years, producing mainly corn and cotton. When the railroad bypassed the town, Gainesville was constructed as the new county seat. This marked the beginning of its decline. Tallahassee was selected as Florida's capital because it sat between Pensacola and St. Augustine. The city grew rapidly as plantations expanded across North Florida. Tallahassee was in the heart of Florida's cotton belt and thrived during the antebellum period. Today, Tallahassee is the 8th largest city in Florida. Monticello became a prosperous plantation town during the cotton era. Many antebellum mansions built by wealthy landowners still survive to this day. Marianna developed as a regional trade center along the Chipola River. It was designated as the county seat of Jackson County in 1829. Its surrounding caves and springs later became early tourist attractions. Quincy, which was named after President John Quincy Adams, grew as a farming town surrounded by tobacco plantations. The town became famous for shade-grown tobacco used in cigar wrappings. Apalachicola quickly became one of the busiest cotton ports on the Gulf Coast. Plantations throughout the South shipped their cotton here for export. Lumber later became one of the most important exports. Milton became one of the earliest lumber towns in northwest Florida. Logs were floated down the Blackwater River and shipped across the Gulf. Much of the town was burned by retreating Confederate troops after the capture of Pensacola. Port Leon once served as a port town near St. Mark's. It was a major port for the export of cotton from the Red Hills region of Florida and Georgia. In 1843, a massive hurricane hit the town. 10-foot storm surge flooded and destroyed Port Leon. Most residents relocated inland to the new town of Newport. St. Joseph briefly became one of the most important ports in Florida. In 1841, a yellow fever epidemic slashed the town's 5,000-strong population down to just 500 people. Numerous hurricanes also battered the town, leading to its abandonment. Located along the St. Johns River, Palatka developed into one of the most important river towns in Florida during the 1800s. Steamboats traveling between Jacksonville and the interior frequently stopped here, bringing passengers, supplies, and mail. Because of its location, Palatka became a busy gateway for settlers and travelers heading deeper into central Florida. Though some of these towns have faded into history, their legacy reminds us that Florida's past is far older and richer than most people realize. I want to thank y'all for watching, folks. I hope you enjoyed, and we will see you on the next. Peace.